Hey, this is Tracy Lewis with Stuff and Things, and I am picking up my paper pumpkin today. So I will get home and get right to it. Stay tuned. And I am home, ready to jump into this month's paper pumpkin, which is a Valentine. I will be looking at these a little different than I normally do because I'm going to use them this year for my own Valentines, but I will still try to do some mix and matching, including some ideas that I might not actually use on my own. And then at the very end, I'll do my mix and matching, and after I finish these up all the way, I'll do a part 2, which is just going to be a slideshow of all of my finished cards. So, as always requested, here is the stamp set. And it says, "You hold the key to my heart, to my Valentine. I love you. Love is the key." And then a lock key, a cute filigree circle, some hearts, and a little keyhole. Our spot for this is fresh freesia. I will be leaving this sealed because I have an abundance of these paper pumpkin spots from many years of doing them. So sunshine and smiles. In fact, I wanted to let you guys know that this is starting my 7th year of doing paper pumpkins. You can go online and see all of my alternatives. All right, so this is coordinating with Playing in the Rain, which I need to get, actually. I thought I had got it, but I just unboxed and did my big unboxing with you guys, and it was not in there, so I did not get it. So I will have to consider getting this and a few other things for the February kit. Sunshine and Smiles. And then there is an add-on for this particular kit while supplies last. They make these cute heart 3D boxes, like a mini box of chocolates. And it looks like there's some key dies and as well as label dies. And our tissue for the month is Fresh Freesia. I am very excited. I have actually had the opportunity to use some of my tissue since I get to give things to people in person these days. So it looks like it is Fresh Freesia and Calypso Coral. Oh, Mango Melody. Gold. Let's see if all of the envelopes, this is only 4 envelopes. So let's see what we've got here. More envelopes. I am seeing three designs, 3 each, for a total of 9. And this is a keyhole. Pops right out. So they are full color, so I can use both the front and the back half. The 2 of the 3 designs are gold foil. Envelopes. Let's see if all of the envelopes are the same. Yes, all of the envelopes are the same, and they are full width of the back. So there's a lot of extra little key material that I can cut apart a couple of envelopes to get more materials. And we have a variety of locks with some keys. They do have gold foil on them. All of the die cuts on these sheets, and you get 9 of them. So 3 sheets of, so that's 3 of each design. Oh, more than 3 of each design, because this one, let's see, you've got this one, which is all circles, 2 per sheet. So that's going to be 12 of those. So 6 squares, 6 of the Calypso coral hearts and 6 of the gold hearts. All right. So I see we've got a bunch of labels in a bunch of variety of shapes. So 3 different shapes, 4 of each. 3 big Fresh Freesia panels. We've got double-sided adhesive. We'll get these die cuts separated out and start contemplating supplies. I will be coming back, as always, to explore anything fun and interesting that I find along the way, as well as some prep tips. And then I'll get some layers done and we'll do some mixing and matching. And in the end, I will have a showcase with at least 20 alternatives for you guys. All right, I am back. I have some prep discussions and some supplies to review. So I pulled the brushed shapes dies, and they have 3 hearts that are very unique hearts. 2 little ones and then a big one. And I cut it in the rose gold, which I have not used a lot of the brushed rose gold. And the rose gold goes with the petal pink very nicely. Okay, so here is some petal pink, and I just wanted to share that rose gold, whether you have the brushed or the foil, smooth foil version, the rose gold goes very nicely with this is petal pink. So there's actually petal pink, and let's see what it says the other pink is. The colors are Calypso Coral, Fresh Freesia, Mango Melody, and petal pink. So this middle color is just a darker petal pink or a light Calypso Coral. And then the other 2 colors that I pulled just for fun, we'll take that away. Let's grab some Fresh Freesia. So I grabbed, this goes with either really well. This is the Distressed Gold. And then regular foil gold, of course, is going to go well. And I will show you that in just a moment because I have a piece done in the foil. Oh, here's a little one. So I have done a bunch of cuts in with the hearts in all 3 of those colors. I then was investigating my sentiment options. And the biggest problem for me is, aside from like my mom and my husband, I wouldn't really, technically to my Valentine, that would be my husband. You hold the key to my heart, love is the key. Now, love is the key is third party, so that one's okay to send to a friend. And then I love you, but I am a happy Valentine's Day. I have a whole bunch of card making friends that I would want to send happy Valentines to, or perhaps sending love. Somewhat neutral. So I've got some investigation to share with you on what I found. I pretty much have to combine words, and I grabbed the Lucky Clover set. The Lucky Clover set has a really nice happy and day, nice and bold. It also has sending luck and love. So I will show you what I've done with these two sentiments to customize them. I actually even really like this sentiment, but I want to use this for St. Patrick's Day, so I won't be able to send them out, or everybody's going to know when St. Patrick's Day comes around. So that long sentiment will just have to wait. I then pulled Share a Milkshake because it has a very nice Be My Valentine, and I was interested in using the word Valentine. I do have the new alphabet dies, but I think they're going to be too big to spell out happy and day. So I took the Be My Valentine from Share a Milkshake, and I created this sentiment. And the apostrophe S was used, or was made with the Petal Pink Many Marvelous marker, or Stampin' Right marker, however you want to think of it as. And so I have a full set of those, so you can make the words spelled out. I also used that marker to individually ink up the words happy and day, and I very carefully did a stamp off and then made sure that I didn't over ink. I also then did a test with Petal Pink using my spot. I do not have the full-size ink pads, though if you watched my fun video from yesterday where I tested out a set of 2018 neutrals, I am working toward getting full-size ink pads now that I have landed in a permanent place. So in the meantime, you can use spots or the marker to ink up a portion of any word stamps you want. So you can use happy birthday to get day out of birth. It's a little bit harder because you don't have the actual space, where this happy St. Patrick's Day is a really good one since day is separated. So I made that sentiment, and then I have a really cute a happy accident, as I call them, sending love. I made a boo-boo and have a little bit of extra ink here, so to cover it up, I just took one of the locks and hung it over the top of sending love. I also, this time, I think I had to do it last month where I had thrown some pieces away, and in this case, I also had to dig through the garbage. These pieces from the locks, I don't know if I will find a good use for them. I think the gold ones look like pretty shields, and I could probably stamp a little heart in it to have it be a little shield like in the bottom corner. So I'll play with that and see if I can find a way to use these other cute little shapes. So don't throw things away too fast, because you just never know. So after that point, the little round circles from the keys I did not throw away. All right, so I have found the vellum. I've got these little shield pieces, as well as just interesting shapes that I might be able to decorate the front. I have fancy everything sequins, and I pulled out the pink. I do have green and blue, but I think that these pink ones, with the array of little goodies I have in here, which would be some white, some pink, little sequins, various sizes, pearls. There's some rhinestones in here, tiny silver and tiny gold sequins as well. So I think I will be able to use these to really dress up the finished cards. I have also pulled the 1/4-inch seaming ribbon, which I will be able to color. I have open weave Pale Papaya, which is close enough to the Petal Pink. If I felt that I wanted it to be a little darker, I could put Petal Pink dark blends if I wanted to. And then there is the Calypso Coral Baker's Twine that's floating around here. Here it is. So we have this. So I'll be able to come up with some cute trim bows. I will probably be making more fluffy bows. The next question I know that you all will ask is with the keyhole. It's a solid keyhole. I have it sitting off to the side here. So here's the keyhole. Here was the cutout. So I found the circle. There was a kit not long ago that had a circle element that somebody had asked which die, if we had one, that would cut it out. So I went ahead and used the stamp right here, and that stamp on here uses the largest die from, I believe it's Beautiful Shapes. I'm looking around here. Well, before we move on to that, I just wanted to show you what all brushed shapes. So there's the hearts, the big one and the two small ones. If you're interested in the watercolor wash extra shapes, here they are. And oh, and I found my extra piece of unused as of yet Petal Pink. All right, it is Beautiful Shapes, and here are the circles, of which I pulled out the middle one, and what worked best is the largest one, that's the plain, that doesn't have the extra treatment on it. Then I have one more stamp set out just in case, and that is Oceanfront, mainly for this particular wash. I have it here. I had done a treatment on it in a previous video, and I still have the blue. So here's what it looks like in case you wanted to use it for perhaps through the keyhole, or perhaps on one of your own pieces. And then I want to show you the cuts I did for the envelope. Here is the full envelope backing. It is an ombre, light to dark, and the keys go horizontal the lengthwise, so you can get a nice vertical card. So I went ahead and took the flap piece and I was able to cut it down, and it goes very nicely on top of this Fresh Freesia angled piece. So I'm going to do something with these two, and I can do up to 3 of these if I want. The last piece that I have pulled is a very special piece that I want to do a few of. I did use, I think I created one as a demo for you guys over the holidays, and that is using fairy lights. I do have an Amazon shop, and will put it in the description with the link to that particular set. And what I've done is I took this keyhole, the inside of the keyhole I separated out. So when this was one piece, when you open it up, you get this treatment on the inside, so it's purple. Then I trimmed down the outside of the Petal Pink with the keyhole. I may not use the circle vellum that came with it. I have my own vellum that's a little bit thicker. And I haven't spent any time, when I create this for real, I will carefully arrange this. So if you envision taking and moving around the metal with the lights, I'm going to turn it on now so you can see it. Here's what it looks like. It just has a nice twinkly lit treatment, and I will spread them around a little bit more so they're not as thick. Right now it's pretty thick. Put it on top of this purple, or perhaps I will do my own piece of paper using the ocean front and do my own wash. Here's what it would look like, and I could use whatever color I wanted. I need to have the battery. If you buy these, you do need to make sure you buy the flat version. There is a thick version that's about a ½ inch thick. I accidentally bought that first, and when they came, it was like, dang, I'm not going to be able to use them. I had to return them. So put it out along the edge so that your recipient can feel that there's something, and you can either write a little note to tell them how to turn it on. And it is this little black knob that just goes up and down. I'm now going to just do the layering for you so you can see what it looks like. And again, it'll all be taped down and kept in a more orderly fashion. Now you can see what it looks like, and I'm going to flip on the switch. And then you can layer in front of the keyhole anything that you want. And if you want to do sending love, and you can kind of cover up some of the brighter, you know, depending on how subtle you want the lighting to be, you can arrange the sending love wherever you want it. I would definitely add the key. So here I'm already arranging cards, and I'm not really ready to do the arrangement, but I wanted you to see what my thoughts were with using the fairy lights. So when I do the mix and match, I'll show you a few different ways that you can use it, and the one that I'm specifically thinking is this keyhole design. You can tell that there is a little bit of light from behind, but it's the keyhole card, so there would be 3 of them that I would want to do. Now the other thing that you could probably do is take and make this heart outline. If you wanted to do more with the fairy lights, you can take and use the exterior of this and pop it out and have a fairly large heart, not as large as the keyhole, and then do your own little fairy light through the heart. So I'm going to turn this off. I will tell you that once you pull, when these come, they have a protective tab that keeps the battery from working. Here is what it looks like. You do not want to pull it out until you're going to use it, because I have found even when they're not lit, it sucks the battery just having the contacts touching. So this is what they look like. They're a little bit more tight. Here, I'll show you one that hasn't been touched. They come all nicely wrapped. And then I just kind of unturned it and fluffed it up a little bit. So on that note, I was thinking I might do a quick couple of simple stamping with the cards. Oh, but before I see one more fun thing to show you, in the Share a Milkshake is a really cool, interesting, Season of Chic has something as well. This is some lines. I went ahead and cut them out in Calypso Coral, so to add it as a layer. There's a more netted looking cut like this, a die cut in Season of Chic, and there's actually a couple of other sets that might have interesting, just generic shapes that you might want to use for layering, and I will be using bits of that in gold and maybe a Fresh Freesia one and a Calypso Coral one on my pieces. And then I never went over, right before I get to stamping, there's this wonderful label that fits nicely behind. So we have 3 label dies. You can put it behind that one, this one, and then there's the Sending Love that you can also add another layer of interest. You could also cut some gold out of any of the gold foils that I showed you today to dress up your labels. And let's go ahead and grab, I went ahead and did a setup for each of the color families. So this is what you're seeing. This was the last one I worked on. And this is Mango Melody as the focus. And I went ahead and on every one of them I did have fun using the pink Everything Fancy sequins. So I probably, aside, I only need one to my Valentine. So you'll see that I have used the sentiments more than I will use them. I'll have to create some different ones for what I want to do. But for this exercise, for you guys to be inspired, I went ahead and used some of the sentiments that you had seen previously, and then I did a couple more. And I will probably be doing, this is one that I will probably use, this Happy Valentine's Day is my combined, I'll probably make some more like this. So this is a fancy bow that uses some metallic baker's twine that is not Stampin' Up, that is Hobby Lobby, and I'm using it because I love it, and Stampin' Up used to carry it and does not carry that at this moment. There is some silver wrapped blue and white that is in the clearance rack. I did get that, but I'm using gold because the gold accents that came with this kit. So I went ahead and have groups of 3. I'm going to be dressing these up. So I also, along with the odd colors, needing to embrace them, I also needed to dress them up to the level of what I would be sending. So this is a card that I would send. The only things I would do different, oh, and I grabbed, this is corrugated, and yes, it is retired. I just grabbed it out of my extras pile because I was looking for some Mango Melody accents. And I used the new embossing folder in this new catalog, the mini catalog. There are only 3 new embossing folders in this catalog. None of them are hearts. So I picked just kind of a generic one, and it is called Cane Weave 3D. So there's raindrops, metal plate, and cane weave. So cane weave is what worked the best, I think. So I went ahead and did one with that. You could use any embossing folders that you want. And if you have heart ones, I think those would be great as well. So this is a nice fleshed out. I have embossing, listen to me. I have vellum behind the sentiment. It is the vellum piece. I tried to stick in vellum for more layers where I could. So this is this piece of vellum. If you really like any of these vellums, you can cut your own vellum to these shapes if you want. This particular one, I did not have the hearts on it. The hearts that are the die cut hearts. And so I am looking for, I'm going to do a little bit of stealing, but I'm trying not to do too much. You could very easily add the brushed heart here. I'm trying to make it fit around the embellishments. And then there's the little mini hearts that could also be added. So you could definitely take this kit, and if you're like me and you like them really decorated, you will have no problem with the couple of extra items that I mentioned, and I will have those on the supplies list. So you will be able to get these as fancy as you want them with very few extra pieces. So there's an extra fancy version. If you just really can't get into the fresh freesia on this one, I went ahead and used my fresh freesia bow. So I made this bow. It is 1 strand of the 1/4 inch seaming ribbon with light, and then the other one is with dark. So you could even do a 3rd one with white if you wanted all 3. So if you really can't get past that, you could do a big fluffy white bow, and that's what that would look like. I didn't want to mix up too many colors, so I don't have any variation of this in mind using the other accent color, but let's go ahead and just do it. Go down that a little bit. So this would be putting on the Calypso Coral lock, and if you're using that lock and it's not heart-shaped, I would probably want to add a key. That is my inclination, and I would probably go ahead and add the key. If I took this heart off, I could then have the key just any old place. And we do get the twine. That is the Calypso Coral, so we could do that. And then the last thing that you could do if you really wanted to is, I don't even think I have a sentiment done in the Calypso Coral, but you could do the Happy Valentines to this one, because this would be if you had to use more of the pieces like so. So it gets to be a lot of color. So to me, I want to be a little more of the monochromatic in how I would deal with this kit, but I do want to show you your options. Because even though to me, I might think it's got too much color, you might look at it and say, nope, it's perfect. All right, so that's enough of working with this layout. I am going to put this. I have a really fun one that I do really like. I'm going to bring this one up. The next one is the Calypso Coral one. So this one incorporates the circles as well as the distressed gold hearts. And I have a couple of options. So there's this To My Valentine. That's actually real red, but the Calypso Coral would look very similar to that. And then here is the lighter tones. Happy Valentine's Day. And in this case, I kept the sequins, the petal pink sequins, pretty simple. And then the other change I wanted to show you is, let's pop out this heart for the lock heart. And then in that case, I almost want to do that. And then with these extra hearts, I'm kind of inclined to do, because we still have the circles on there. So that's another look that you can go for. And if you're just curious, I haven't been using this rectangular lock all that much. So if I have the rectangular one, I then want the key. And I think that that makes a nice look. And then there's a variety of bows that you can pop on. I'm going to be popping on a fancy bow, and I'm okay with that key just kind of being hinted at and the lock having them be somewhat covered. I just really like the way that look is. And then when I see that big fluffy bow, I don't really mind the color variations too much. It just kind of melts away in my eye the issues of all these different crazy colors for Valentine's. So that is the Calypso Coral idea. And if you wanted, let's see if I can make this happen. you do have white or fresh freesia. So let's see if I can find. You could do tone on tone. I'm just looking for some backgrounds to put on. Oh, that one is already trimmed down. So that one's not going to work for us because that's my simple stamping that I trimmed down. Okay, but I do have this. Let's just throw on a couple of different mats to get a different look that'll tie in maybe the colors better. So in this case, I'm going to take off the white bow and go with the fresh freesia bow. This bow isn't quite as big and fluffy as the other one, but then that introduces even more colors. And I am trying to make this angle at the same 45 degree as the gold foil lines in the background. So that looks okay to me. I can deal with that. I know that like this gold heart is just perfect, but you only get 3. So I am trying to embrace all of the other colors. But if you really wanted to keep it very controlled, you could decide, I'm going to blow a wonderful rare gold locket on this one. That's what I really want. I'm not as convinced. I kind of like the, if I'm going to go with the other colors, like I've lost enough of the Calypso Coral when I lost the Calypso Coral lock that I would have to put the Calypso Coral lock back on, I think, to make that one work for me. I think that that is the one I like better. But I could use, rather than the rectangle shape, I could do heart-shaped lock, put a little bow on there. And I like that better because it's a balance of color. And I could even decide that I want the key to have the bow and the heart going the other direction. I would pop it up though. And then the last thing that I can get is a piece of white, just to see what a simple white mat would look like. And hopefully, as always, I cannot promise to get the photography for all of these. I've done quite a bit of the photography, and hopefully as I go back through for one last round of photographs, I'll remember some of these. So that white gives it a completely different look. But I want to leave these three pops of color. I can change everything around. Remember, I still have my 2 round pieces. This is the only round stamp that I did with the circle stamp. I didn't do any others, but you could look at doing those with a different color. Like the Calypso Coral, you could stamp with the circle to get even more Calypso Coral going if you liked it. And I think that is all I'm going to do for this one. Now they're starting to pile up over here. Okay, so my favorite combination so far is the fresh freesia. So let me grab this. I have to put a piece back on it for you. And I did a horizontal. If you guys have seen lots of my videos, you know I am very drawn to vertical cards. So I'm always excited when I find myself making a horizontal card. All right, so this is my favorite color combination. I like the design of the background as they created it. I love the 2 gold elements. I love the simple gold double, gold wrapped baker's twine, but I am going to now do some changes. So I really liked that bow, but let's see what happens if I add this fluffy bow. Love that fluffy bow. I'm gonna push this down further. I didn't put the circle vellum on this one, but you could definitely tone down if you thought that the gold was a little overpowering. You could either make your own vellum or you could just use one of these circles. Another trick, if you wanted to extend the use of these circles, is cut them in half or cut them in quarters and have other elements that they get to tuck behind where it makes sense for them to be a half or quarter size. And you could choose to fishtail if you wanted. I've got some bow options. Since I'm all about the fresh freesia with this design, I would move the heart up and add this wonderful fluffy bow down here. And I really like that. So I'll probably need to get a photograph of that. I hope I remember it. I really like, so this is definitely my favorite. And you could use any of the hearts from the brushed hearts set. Here is the distressed. There is one more distressed heart floating around here somewhere. Here it is. All right, so that's very cute, you know, because eventually you're going to use up all of these little hearts, the little locks. So I like that I have found something that I can use to replace. Now we're going to try. No guarantees I'm going to like this, but let's just see. I haven't even found a use for these little guys yet. You know, I'm not sure if you can just tack them underneath these hearts and have it make sense. But sometimes I think it doesn't have to make sense. So there's a possible use of those little lock centerpieces. With what I'm going with now, I want to move this over. Either move it over like more to the middle, and then I really, really want a key. Especially since it says you hold the key to my heart. And of course, I will want a nice bow. And I'm gonna say, let's do the fresh freesia bow and span it over both of these elements. Let's do Calypso Coral. This is a little bigger lock. And I do have, let's see if I've got two. And you guys let me know in the comments, what do you think of using these funky little pieces of the locket center to get the color going? And then I would definitely pop everything up, so I'm not spending the time to pop them all up right now. But I would want to do that. All right, so I have one more fresh freesia. I was saving my favorites till last. So we're going to move this one off. Okay. I have one other fancy thing to do with bows that I want to show. And that is another non-Stampin' Up product. Stampin' Up used to have thread, but they don't have thread anymore. So I've created a little thread doodad to share with you when I work on this one. So this one uses the, you get 3 of these tilty rectangles that I took the mask, or they took the flap with the key. So this is going to be a vertical card. All right, and now, so we have this lovely freesia bow, and using this thread that you just get in the sewing section of any big box store, I went ahead and I weave them around my fingers 4 loops, making a figure 8 4 times, and then I use a little bit of Scotch tape to hold it in the center. And then I do it separate, because then I can decide if I want it to be angled sideways, cockeyed, or straight underneath. It just really depends on the bow which way I want it to go. So here's placement of the cute bow, and then let's make room for this heart. It's nice and fluffy. And just like that other fresh freesia layout, I really like this look of layout. It's a little bit unconventional with the funky angles, but I'm sticking with the angles that were provided, with being inspired by this funky shaped rectangle, a wonky rectangle. And then we can swap out this big heart and go for the very cute gold heart with a key. Let's get the key on at a nice angle, and if you didn't want the big heavy bow, you could just put these together with this bow over the top of both of them. All right, so those are my 2 favorites, and then I have this last special one. I won't call it a favorite yet, because I would have to spend a little more time getting it all put together. So let me show you. When you set this up for shipping, you only have a 1/4 inch, so you're not going to be able to pop up the top sentiment. You could make the sentiment, you could even stamp the sentiment. If you're really brave, you could stamp it here directly. There is this little bit of fresh freesia and nothing else that's fresh freesia, so you could play with some different options here. Being careful of weight, because if you're going to mail this, it can't be more than 1 ounce. And I'm going to grab this Valentine, and I'm starting to like this as I build it up. As again, I'm going to have to check the weight and see if I can spare this 3-layer sentiment. And then of course I also have to worry about the thickness with my embellishments. So I think that I would want to just do sequins, because sequins are nice and flat. I would not want any lumpy bumpy surfaces, because it's already going to be thick enough. So I think that I like that look myself. And now I'm going to go ahead and lift up the hood and show you what it looks like underneath. So if I lift this off, I have used, to get a little bit of the fresh freesia glow, I have gone ahead and glued these down as flat as I can possibly make them. You do have the width of the battery that is going to be, that's kind of your guide of how thick it's going to be. And my next step when I build this up completely is to use my strips, foam strips. I already have this put in place, have this attached, I will actually use some tear and tape underneath to more permanently affix it. And then I would use the strips along the four sides to help raise it all up nice and firmly, to then place the top on so that it's all secure. Alternatively, you could, if you don't have the strips, since we don't need the strips for shaker elements, you could go ahead and make your own little base that's 1/4 inch thick. And then of course, if you are giving this away to a person by handing it to them, you can make it as thick as you want. You could make it an easel. An easel top would look really cute. And to make it a stand-up, like a desktop easel for someone's office. And that concludes this month's paper pumpkin. Like I said, I'm almost done with the photography, and then I'm going to go away and I have to turn this kit into my actual Valentine cards, kind of like what I did at Christmas. And so I will follow up probably by next weekend. I'll want to get these all ready to go in the mail. So you will see a follow-up that will just be a quick showcase. So it'll be very short, you know, like under a couple minutes. That will show you all of my final cards. And don't be surprised if I stretch the fresh freesia out and use mostly the fresh freesia for this. I didn't really show you, I have pictures, but I didn't actually show you, let me turn this off, some simple dressing up of the basic cards. I think that they actually came out really cute. I'm going to steal this. So this particular card can be dressed up very easily. And I was just showing using the petal pink, but you could just as well, let me get that. I like to use these little pop-ups because I'm not sure if I'm going to really want dimensionals, although I know what I'm going to use, so I have actually added dimensionals to quite a few of the pieces this time because I know I'm going to be making these into cards next. All right, so at this point, so you could add a bow and dress this up a little bit. And with the key to my heart, you could definitely do the gold and put the bow up here and just leave the background elements. The background elements, they kind of, they just kind of melt into the background, but still add interest. And then you've got your bling you can add. So you could do a really nice simple stamping of whatever colors work for you. I just really wanted to add in the real red for a little pop of traditional Valentine color. The next one, which is also very cute, I am actually going to pull out a real red so you can see what it looks like matted with real red. And then I see off to the side, I want to just at least show you one other piece that I haven't even got to. In fact, from there, I will probably let you guys go and I will work on the final photography, starting with the one that I'm going to show you. So this, I'm actually really liking this. See, I thought that I might really like the fresh freesia with the real red. And sure enough, I do. So that means that this one, I just want to show you. So these could be really cute, simple stamping cards with just a few elements. See, I think that is so cute. And if it were me, I would be happy with just a couple of pearls. And I think that is just so cute. Cute, cute, cute. So don't forget the simple stamping and the simple cards. If you like simple cards, even though I like my Avid cards, you can make some really cute simple cards with this stamp set. Okay, that's all I've got. I have the showcase coming next weekend. Please leave me your questions, comments, and concerns. I would love to know what you thought of this kit and the funky colors. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.